We're doing Parashat Shemot, Sefer Shemot, Parashat Shemot, new parasha. We really debated what to focus or try to focus on this week's parasha. Sefer Bereshit is really let's put a collection of, I would hate to use the word stories, but overviews of individuals. The stories about individuals. Sefer Shemot is a story about the nation. It's the evolvement of the nation. However, in order to connect one on the other, we have to start with the story of Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu is, I don't know what to tell you. I just have no words. I used to use words, superlatives like great, unbelievable, and so on and so forth. But I do find myself, as years go by, and not for lack of better words, or maybe for lack of better words, not having any words that I could describe greatness in people like Moshe Rabbeinu, like the Rambam, and so on and so forth.
How can you describe something that we can't even imagine?
I can't. I mean, not imagine in terms of physical. I look at what how these people lived, how they conducted themselves, and I look at the way I conduct myself. Other people, our so-called leaders, conduct themselves. Say, Ribono Shel Olam, it's not human. Either they were superhumans or we are minor humans. But and I think it's because, as we said earlier, we don't internalize what has happened, but rather we tell the story. We don't try to learn the story. So we have an introduction with Moshe Rabbeinu in this week's parasha. Moshe Rabbeinu was born. He was raised at the house of Paro. He kills an Egyptian. He runs away to the desert. He sees the burning bush. He refuses. Oh, Baruch haba. No. He refuses for a time to the commandment of Hashem to go to see the people. Let's put it this way: it's quite of a busy day, or quite of a busy parasha. A lot of things that happen. I, as usual, want to take things a little bit out of order. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes, and he asks Moshe Rabbeinu to go to Paro. They meet in the desert, and to be the savior of the Jews. And Moshe says, no. I'm not going. The question is why? So Moshe says to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Be'emet, who am I? Mi ani. Who am I? I don't speak well. I don't have the charisma of a leader. I'm not really worthy. I can't even go because I'm wanted. I killed someone. Wanted sign.
He actually said that?
No, it's just excuses that he gives.
No, but he actually
No,
said
he didn't say that. He said he gives those excuses, but look.
But what is the actual excuse? How did he say that?
He says, I can speak.
No, what is the wording in the Torah?
Mi ani ke'elech el paro kevad lashon.
Okay.
Right, which is
heavy. Where's the part about the killing?
No, it's not. I'm saying it.
Okay.
I'm saying it. But that's what he said. In other words, what I'm trying to tell you again, let's not concentrate on the
No, I understand.
On the words themselves. Let's concentrate on the idea so we could learn. In other words, 1,001 excuses not to do whatever you ask for.
Sounds like my son.
Sounds like all of us.
Yeah, sounds like me.
And all these excuses are some internal, some external excuses, difficulties that I have, that will not listen to me, and so on and so forth. And all these excuses to do one thing, not to act. And I'm using the word act. Not act in terms of an actor, act in terms of action. So if we go a little bit step forward from the explanation or the perush that we have. So why he didn't go? He was afraid, and so on and so forth. Let's look at this a little bit internal. Each and every one of us has, first of all, each and every one of us is not perfect. We all have some disorders, whatever you call them. We all have lack of perfection, and we're not perfect in one way or another. Each and every one of us has his internal problems, faults and problems. The burning bush is revealed to us all the time. Hasnei boer. And us, instead of believing in our internal power and ability to deal with our internal paro that exists in each and every one of us. Sometimes you can take those characters from the Torah and apply it to certain characteristics and trends inside of you internally of each and every one of us. We all have this paro. And we come with doubts. We have doubts. We are motivated by doubts and fears. And we say, who are we? Who am I to do that? I already tried. I failed. So first of all, let me ask you a question. So what if you failed? What's the big deal of failing? I'm not saying that I'm be all end all, but I would rather fail and know that I'm a failure than not know who I am by never trying. At least, if I'm a failure, I can do something about it. If I would never know, I don't even know who I am. I don't know what I'm capable of. Therefore, I could never change it. I don't really see any results of the actions that I did. I work hard, but I try, but it's not happening. I always fail. What happens after that, we start to develop all kind of theories that are wrong, and false theories. Why? Just so somebody else will do the work for us. Many people, we all want Mashiach to come. We all believe Mashiach will come one day. But if you ever ask yourself, why isn't he coming? Is maybe because we have it all wrong. In the Haggadah of Pesach, we say, Kol yemei chayecha, yamim, aleilot, and so on and so forth. Kol yemei chayecha, lehavi limot HaMashiach. You have to act upon to bring it about. After you set the ground ready, he will come. If you think that Mashiach will come, you will sit here, Mashiach will come, he will be like the Superman and comes and fights the whole entire world with Krypton and I don't know, whatever they fly over there, and then you're going to say, yeah, we won, like the mice, they come out and, Minnie Mouse and, flying like this. That doesn't happen, Rabotai. If you think so, you're wrong. And I hate to say that, maybe you won't see Mashiach at all. Because you know why? You need to do the work. You're not doing your work. Start thinking about it. We want somebody else to come and do great things, important things. We want somebody else to save the world. We don't want to save the world. We're going to sit there, spectators on the bleachers, right? But that's the culture that we're at. Most people like to watch sport. Very few people actually do sport. It's an attitude.
hard work. To be in sports,
Everything is hard work.
very hard work.
Everything is hard work. But we say, I will deal with my little problems. I will deal with my little issues. I will deal with my own personal survival. And I keep on spinning around my tail all day long, accomplishing basically nothing. And these are the excuses in which we say to ourselves, on the surface it looks like humbleness. We're humble. Who am I to do that? Chazal tell us, "B'makom she'en ish, he'yeh ish." In a place that there's no man, you will be the man. So it's not humbleness. I have news for you. It's complete arrogance. Arrogance to say, I'm not worthy to do such a job. You know why? Anybody knows why? I'll tell you why. Who are you to determine who is worthy and who is not worthy? You are faced with a situation. The situation came about and you are here. You need to act upon. Don't wait for somebody else to do the work for you. Many people are like this. They want the rabbi to learn for them. I have the rabbi, he'll learn for me. And that's okay. No. You have to learn. You have to learn. Because you have to show an example to your son. You have to learn. Your job, not anybody else. And each one of you should know that everybody and everyone is capable to win his own internal and personal paro inside of him. Each and every one is capable. Paro represents the side that constricts, that doesn't want you to do, who's going to make you busy. That's what Paro did to the Jews. Guess God, guys, you have too much free time on your head. Build pyramids with bricks that I'm not going to supply. You're going to make the bricks too. Be busy. We make ourselves busy. We think by making ourselves so busy and dealing with spinning around our tails, all our problems go away. They don't go away. They just become bigger and you become weaker. And how do you change this? By action, by asiyah. We have to do it by asiyah according to each and every one, whatever your own personal reality has subscribed to you and came about. Each and every one of us has a different personal reality. And each and every one of us have to act on his own. Not asking too many questions, not asking why, how, what would I get out of it. Those kinds of calculations that we do are absolutely foolish. The whole essence of this kind of cheshbonot, calculations that we do, is preventing us from action. We need to be moving all the time. Every living organism is in movement. If a moving organism ceases to move, he ceases to exist. Every one of us should strive to make the situation that he is at better. To concentrate on the positive, to concentrate on what you have. Don't concentrate on what you don't have and what you lack. So if one is a demagogue, but maybe he's physically weak. If one is not a speaker, maybe he's physically strong. This one has strength in this one, that has strength in the other one. We all complement each other. That's why each and every one of us is important. And I'll show you a little later why it's important to have this one of us, to be one. I'll show you why. We cannot say, I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready. I am not ready to erase our name or my name for what I call, it's the meanwhile consciousness. Meanwhile. I can do this, but meanwhile, I'm not ready. Meanwhile, I don't feel so comfortable with this. Each and every one of us has dreams. Each and every one of us have dreams. Most of us, if not most of us, say, one day I'm going to fulfill my dreams. Without you, how many of you guys would like to fly a plane? Nobody else wants to fly a plane? Did you ever do anything about it? Did you ever look what would take you to fly? When do you think you're going to learn how to fly a plane? So what do you guys do until that point? You fly a Microsoft simulator. It's good if you're going to lead you to actually fly a plane, but it's not good if you're just going to settle down for that. How many of you want to learn a language? How many of you want to learn Gemara on their own and willing to do what it takes to be done? Hey, so people would ask you, people would say, one day I would live my dreams, I would live my life, I would really feel, and so on and so forth. I'll do what I really want. That's one day. Meanwhile, you're not doing anything. Moshe is standing in front of the burning bush. He's standing in front of the burning bush. The bush is burning, but it's not being consumed. Moshe is looking at this paradox, and he doesn't understand. He just doesn't understand. How is this possible? He doesn't understand as much as we don't understand. We don't understand that most of the time, it seems to us that because of our of what we have, of our ingredients, our internal ingredients, based on the statistics, based on our reality, we cannot act and we cannot change. It seems to us like this. But that's not the case. That's not the case. That's a mistake to think so. The time to act is now. Why? Because you don't know if you're going to have tomorrow. When Moshe sees the sneh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells him, Shal na'alecha me'al raglecha, take your shoes off. Why? For the place that you're standing on, makom asher ata omed bo admat kodeshi, hamakom, the place. The place. What's the place? The place is the now. The place is the now. In other words, you need to understand that you need to sanctify this moment now. Now is the only time that you have. There's nothing you can do about the past. Nothing at all. There is nothing you can do about the future because it's not even here. The only thing that you have is now. Don't waste it. Why? Because if a makom hazeh, if this place, if now is holy, and I desecrated it, it's like desecrating anything else that is holy. This time was giving us is a borrowed time. Not to live in fears. Each and every one of us has a different challenge, designed especially for him or her to overcome that challenge. And if we fail, it's not because we can't, it's because we don't want to. And that's something deep. If you internalize that, you will be unstoppable. So I have a little problem. It's no big deal, it's not going to stop me. I mean, you did see guys in the Olympics, they run with no legs.
Or break a leg and continue.
Or break a leg and continue. Or whatever happens to them. For me, this understanding came, I was young. It was 1973, right after the war. And they used to bring artists and musicians to entertain the soldiers. So one time they had a show and it was all injured soldiers. And I don't remember who was the musician because it was not important. But he gave a superb show. It was wonderful. And all the soldiers were happy. And something that got stuck in my head. There were two soldiers that were missing opposite hands. They were sitting right next to each other. it didn't stop them from clapping hands together. They were so excited. The fact that they didn't have a hand, that did not allow their lack of a hand to affect their joy. They found a way to clap hands as well. It was engraved in my memory as something for me to learn. Are we able to do so? We have all hands and legs, thank God, but what are we doing? And we always, again, we waste the time. We wait for others to do the time, to do the job for us. But then, what happened to us? Then we say, wait, I want a piece of that pie too. After all, it was my reality as well. Thank you for doing the job, but I want it. Exactly like who?
Like us.
Korach. Moshe Rabbeinu came, he takes him out of Egypt, he deals with Paro, he deals with them with the desert, for whatever time, he carries them, they cry for him, the Kadosh Baruch Hu, for one hand, Am Yisrael on the other hand, he gets them somewhere. All of a sudden Korach comes, excuse me, I want your share, why you, not me? Excuse me, Korach, where have you been with the people who were in Mitzrayim that nobody cared about? Where have you been? You were too busy. Now that he got everything together and he worked it out and he get the people learning and the people are responding, all of a sudden you want to come and you want to take his share? And you you dare to say everybody's holy? That's outrageous. Rabotai, these are things that happen every single day. If you want to do something, not a problem. There's plenty of work to do. Start from scratch. Why did you wait? Not you. And this is how we live in Galut. And let me explain to you. I want to leave some time for talking as well. We said 9, not 8:30.
No, but we agreed 8.
Oh, that's good, but you agreed 8, but I have with them at 8 too. Now, we'll see. We'll talk. It's good. I'm happy you come. One of the ways and one of the troubles that we have when we live in Galut is that the Jews really want to solve the problem of what is called Galut, exile. But they don't want to do that appropriately. You have a problem being in exile? It's not a problem. Pack your stuff and go. Pack your stuff and go. Many times we do it differently. And this is the curse of the Galut. That's the curse of the Galut. We take the path of least resistance. What do? We break this identity of a global identity of a Jew. We don't refer to ourselves anymore as a nation. We refer ourselves as individuals. Individuals. In other words, a Jew can come and say, listen, I was born to a Jewish mother, I'm a Jew, what can I do? But
I want to be a Jew.
Nobody asked me.
I'm just an
but I am an American.
I'm a citizen of the world.
I'm a citizen of the world. I'm American. I don't belong to this general body that's called being a Jew. I segregate. There is no bigger curse in exile. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry to interject. I have a case in point. I have a friend who is exactly my age, whose child is exactly my child's age, and he has a dilemma. He's Israeli, he's a Kohen, but he wanted to be an American. Now his son is dating a Goya, and it is killing him. And he says, I admit it. It's my fault. I wanted to live a different life. And now there is nothing I can do to stop my son. He is not listening. He's not listening to me. He's not listening to my wife. I did not send him to Yeshiva. I didn't do any of the things I was supposed to do.
That's killing your overall identity. I am, for example, which is very interesting. I have a good friend of mine. He was he made Aliyah from America to Israel. And it was very interesting. One time I spoke to him, he said to me, listen, when I was in Israel, I was an American. When I came to America, I was an Israeli. I was never who I am. Therefore, try to refrain from using, I don't like, and we spoke about it in the morning, I don't like the term, for example, to say, I am an Orthodox Jew. Why? Because by saying I am an Orthodox Jew,
separating yourself from the rest.
Not only I'm separating myself from the rest, I'm giving legitimacy to the others. I am a Sephardic Jew. Means I segregated myself from the Ashkenazi or from the non-Sephardic Jews. I am a Turkish Jew. Therefore I separate myself from everybody else who is not a Turkish Jew. Why in the world do you need any kind of superlatives or titles in front of the name of Jew? What's your problem? Why do you tend to say, I am this and this? I'll tell you why. Or the same thing like in politics, right? Lehavdil, I am not a Republican. I'm a new Republican. I'm a new type of... What you're saying by putting a title in front of what designates you and describe you as a being means that that entity cannot stand by itself. It needs support. And that is the curse of the Galut. Not only we are separated, and we are always separated, we separate ourselves to break apart. Am Yisrael in Mitzrayim did not break apart. They stayed Jews. And they went to salvation. They were saved.
Because of that.
If you get stuck in here. Galut is not a specific place. A galut is a state of mind. You could be in Israel, sitting in Yerushalayim, in the Jewish quarter, and still be in exile because you divide. You are a secular Jew, you are this kind of Jew, I am that kind of Jew, we don't do this, he doesn't do it. It is garbage. You're not making a statement, you're writing yourself a death wish. And this is a curse of the Galut. It was a missed opportunity in Israel with the establishment of the state of Israel that they allowed this segregation and separation.
And that deals with history.
And all the rest is history. We need to start again. Look at the Gemara. Look at the concept behind the Daf Yomi. You have the Mishnah in Eretz Israel. You have the Torah, the Gemara in Aramid from Bavel. You have Rashi, you have Tosfot, you have the Riv, you have the Ran, you have everybody there. They're all together. They're all together for what? They're all together for the one thing, to put Am Yisrael together, not to divide. He who divides Am Yisrael should be condemned. No one is allowed to do so. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu hates it. One who did that was Korach. He didn't want to act. Korach did not want to act. Korach was sitting on the side. Moshe Rabbeinu did the work. All of a sudden, it becomes his. He has a claim to that as well. That's called trespassing. Lech, go. There are plenty of other. Go to the Erev Rav. Where have you been? You decided not to. You have no claim to talk. The Galut, exile, starts at the moment that we have a feeling that sometimes comes from inside, sometimes it comes from the outside, that it is a private issue, not a collective issue. That this is my private reality, not my national reality. Moshe understands how difficult it is to lead Am Yisrael. It is difficult. Why did Moshe, going back to the beginning, why did Moshe Rabbeinu say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, listen, I don't want to lead the Jews. I don't want to do it. You know why? Can anybody tell me why? How would he know How does he know that they're Am Kshe Oref? That they're stubborn people? How did he know? It's very simple. He saw an Egyptian beating up a Jew. He was about to kill the Jew. Moshe came, intervened, saved the Jew, killed the Egyptian. Next day, he sees two Jews fighting. He comes to intervene, to stop. Guys, don't fight. What did he say to him? Excuse me, wait. Who appointed you to be our leader here? Who appointed you to be the judge? He was not even a judge yet. He was not even a leader. He was already blamed for that. Now, is this, when the Torah says, Am Kshe Oref, a stubborn nation, is this a good thing or is it a bad thing?
Depends how you look at it.
Depends how you look at it. Very good. Depends more than that, what you make out of it. Am Israel, you should know, is a nation of very tough people. Why? Because they are all individuals.
There's a word for it, tenacious.
But they're all individuals. As individuals, it's very hard. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody wants to do, everybody has an opinion. So it's very hard to rule over people like that. In order to lead the people, and that's true back then, and is even more true now. Because believe it or not, now it becomes more difficult because now we are completely separated. If you ever want to lead the people, and it does not make a difference if you're going to run a state, or you're going to run a city, or you're going to run a shul, or you're going to run your house, or a company, whatever the Jews that you have to understand. It's very difficult. If you want to do that, you lead, not control, lead. You have to do what? You have to be
Unite them first.
selfless.
You need to unite them first.
You're going to unite them by two ways. Either with love, or with joint hatred towards you. You need to be selfless. You can't think about yourself. You don't exist. You are not on the list. You have to be like Moshe Rabbeinu. Why was Moshe Rabbeinu the greatest leader of the Jewish people? Because he has anava, humbleness. He was absolutely selfless. He did not think about himself. So when he says, I am not worthy, I don't want to go, it's not because I don't want the burden. Because he says, maybe there is something in me that would prevent me from leading the people because I know what it takes. When the Jewish people, believe me, I told Rabbi Nasir of something today that at the time I heard from Rabbi Mordechai Eliyahu alav shalom. Mordechai Eliyahu alav shalom, when he was young, was known to be a big zealous. But yet, I heard it, and he said, I have never seen even one person becoming closer to religion, Choser B'Tshuva, because he got a rock in his hand, on his head. You were zealous, you say Shabbos, you throw a rock. You don't bring people like this. You catch more bees with honey than you do with vinegar. You bring people close with love and compassion. Don't make their life of the Jew difficult. It is hard to be a Jew. Moshe Rabbeinu knows that. Why are you making their life more difficult? As what I said to you. If somebody already comes and asks you a question, it's because he wants to know. So tell him the truth. Take yourself out of it and give him the Torah, as Moshe Rabbeinu did. Aspaklaria meira, a clear mirror. There was no distortion in the words of Moshe Rabbeinu. And there's something to remember. You should know that the Jews, when they were united, sometimes they didn't worship Hashem, but they refused to bow down to other gods. The prophets never bowed down to the kings, refused to bow down to the kings. Haman refused to bow down to, Mordechai to Haman refused to bow down to him. The Hashmonaim refused to bow down to the Greeks. The Jews after that refused to bow down to the Romans, and in Spain they were burnt, and on and on and on, and the pogroms and on. But they were only able to do so when they kept their Jewish identity, when they saw the collective as a Jew. But when you lose your Jewish identity, when you lose the fact that you're a Jew, when you put titles in front of your name as a Jew, right now you become an assimilated Jew. Now you can bow down. Now you could be conquered. So to be an Am Kasher Oref is good, and it's bad. It's bad because they would reject any kind of authority on them. But it's also good because nobody can oppress them. Nobody can rule them. Nobody can oppress them. It depends what you do with it. So the maestro of the band, you can have the most beautiful collection of musicians, a philharmonic musician. Every there is Pavlo Casals and Artur Rubinstein and Itzhak Perlman and the who and who of music. But if you don't have a maestro that knows how to bring the best in his people, you don't have music, you have noise. Maestro doesn't play. He's not the one who gets all the cheers. He's there to guide the band. Moshe Rabbeinu knows that. And he's a very humble man, and he wants to make sure he has it. It is a tremendous lesson to all of us. If you want to work, start working on yourself. Start doing for other people. As a father, you would know that. As a husband, you would know that. That everybody comes before you. You need to think about what are you going to leave to your children in the future? What kind of not a world, what kind of habits in which they're going to be acquired. Don't be concerned. And I know that you're going to get angry with me. But don't be concerned with the petty traditions that separates you from one another. Concentrate on what would put us together. What will make us into a nation, one nation under God? What is it that we have together? Pick yourself someone who will guide you and would lead you with no self privilege to himself on that. Go to the territories that nobody wants to deal with. Deal with the guys that nobody wants to deal with. Get yourself dirty. Get yourself dirty. Roll your sleeves. Because afterward, this is not about you. It's about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's about Am Yisrael. This is how we connect between the Avot and Am Yisrael. That's what it says when HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, tell the people that it's the God of their fathers. He who kept the promise to the fathers because the children kept the promise to God also. It's no other God. Moshe is not going on a mission for himself. Moshe doesn't want to be the leader. Moshe goes because he understands he needs to help the people, and that's because what Hashem wants. The question is, what are you willing to do? Shabbat Shalom.